I think we have stopped here, right? This topic, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, right? Okay. Yes, yes. So we will be discussing. I will not be discussing this theory. What are the possible questions which you can expect from here, guys? This is one topic from where you can connect with ideal types, because this is a classical example of how he used ideal type, right? And then comparative analysis. So you will see ideal types of Protestant ethic, ideal types of capitalism. What do you mean by ideal types? Ideal type means regularities, regularly seen elements. So ideal types of Protestant religion he will take, that means the regularity. Ideal type of capitalism, regularities. I'm not discussing what are these ideal types. You know that. If you don't know about that, I have given it here, the ideal types of Protestant ethic, ideal types of capitalism. Then what he did, he went for a comparative analysis. So if you get a question on comparative analysis, this is something which you can write as an example. Then you can also write from Durkheim. I'm talking about comparative analysis, comparative method. Durkheim, comparative method, which he used to compare organic solidarity, mechanical solidarity, traditional society, modern society, in his theory of suicide also. So all these can be interconnected if the question is about comparative analysis. If the question is about ideal type, this you can again use as an example how he used ideal type concept to formulate this theory. Otherwise, this theory is going to be very simple. He is establishing, or this theory is basically telling you how the religion helped in the development of capitalism. Okay, the one question, that favorite question of the examiner, not only in UPSC, in all the sociology debates, you will see, compare Marx and Weber with their framework on capitalism. There are many things which you can write, but if you see the main point, the thread, if you ask me in that, this theory, what Weber says religion is the reason for capitalism. This Protestant ethic that led to capitalism. So religion led to capitalism. I don't have the pen to write, so I'm expecting you are able to follow me. I'll reduce the speed also a bit than yesterday. On the other hand, what Marx says, it is the capitalism which led to creation of religion. It is the economic infrastructure shaped the superstructure. Religion is part of superstructure, which is shaped by the system. So the religion you see in ancient system and feudal system, capitalist system will be different. The reason is economic infrastructure is different. The demand is different. So in capitalism, religion is shaped by the system to act as opium of masses. Religion is the heart of heartless world, soul of soulless condition, and opium of masses, right? Giving the fake promise. So basically, you can read that and then you will be able to understand. The question here is direct, Weber theory on religion. Okay, where even Weber theory of social change is also asked. Then you can again bring this one, Weber theory of social change. So a lot of significance is there for this theory, application of ideal type, use of comparative analysis. Then there is something called as causal pluralism or causal probabilism. Weber not only talking about one cause for everything, right? He's studying capitalism. One of the causes, this religion, ethic, but it has been made possible also due to some other factors. That is what? Causal pluralism. Multiple causes are possible. Even when he talk about social action, you will see multiple causes, right? He says these are ideal types, traditional action, affective action, Zweck rational action, vote rational action. These are ideal types. The combination may be possible. That again shows causal pluralism, probability of multiple causes. So here, what is that? It is a substance. So this diagram is what you need to know, right? Doctrine of predestination. It is again a Protestant ethic. And then that, because of that, your destiny is fixed, whether you're going to enter into heaven or not. So that led to insecurity and tension in the minds of followers. So there is a feeling of anxiety and loneliness in the minds of followers. So what they interpret is, this is how, again, very important, guys, this is the perspective of Weber. The meanings generated in the mind of people lead to a macro reality. So here the meanings generated in the minds of people, that insecurity and tension, and they interpreted it like this: if you are successful in this world, that means you have been chosen by God to enter into heaven. So how can you be successful in this world? Do maximum hard work, and that gave the spirit. So religion acted as the spirit. Again, this worldly asceticism, notion of calling also acted as a spirit, that again connected to religion. So religion acted as spirit, but the entire process is also made possible due to these substance. So just write substance here, new factory system and everything. And then he went on to again another comparative study of other world religions like Confucius religion, Hinduism and all. He said that in Confucius religion, if you see, it thrust on traditionalism, right, obligations and everything. So spirit was absent, substance was there. In India also, Hinduism, karma, dharma, punarjanma, spirit was absent, substance was there. Further, Judaism, if you see, substance was absent, spirit was there, because various historical factors scattered Jews, and you know that problems that the Jews faced. But though they are one of the top capitalists now, but this is the understanding of Weber. And then criticism, you can use a lot of criticism. Even Milton Singer study on Indian religion, family, that also you can use. Theory of religion, according to Weber, the same thing is what you need to write. Theory of religion, he discussed like this. Okay, this Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. This is what you need to write. Theory of religion. So the substance which is coming here, it should come here, okay, in this arrow. So that explanation is given here, guys. Causal pluralism, causal probabilism, these keywords should be there in your answer. These are the words. Ideal types should be there in your answer. Comparative analysis, causal pluralism, right? Comparative analysis, historical, other studies of other religions, all these need to be incorporated. I have added here religion of China, religion of India, Judaism, and everything is added here. So here, look into this question. Examine how Max Weber apply the ideal type in establishing a relationship between religion and economy. Direct question, straightforward. So ideal type he constructed capitalism, ideal type he constructed Protestant ethic. So you need to explain first what you mean by ideal type. Ideal type means regularities. Okay, in order to study a phenomena objectively, he gave the concept of ideal type. This is not methodological pluralism, Priyanka. Methodological pluralism we have discussed in chapter 3, right? Here, it's not methodological pluralism. This is causal pluralism. He's not using multiple methods here, right? We can't say comparative analysis, ideal types, and all these are multiple methods. These are almost, integrated. Methodological pluralism, when I said quantitative, qualitative using together, right? Triangulation, those kind of things is what we add in methodological pluralism. Okay, so whatever I have explained before is what is written here in a different language. You can go through that. Criticisms also very important. Okay, now reference group, directly you will get questions. Explain fashion in society by using reference group, all this, right? So reference group means a group that you are looking up to. Okay, you want to be a part of the group. That's what your reference group. If you want to become IAS officers, that's your reference group, right? If you want to become a civil servant, that's going to be a reference group. If you want to become an IPS officer, that's going to be your reference group. So you consider that as your reference group, and then you may try to imitate the lifestyles because you are expecting that one day you will be part of them, right? You will try to behave like them. So this is what you mean by reference group. There are positive reference group, there are negative reference group. What we have discussed now is a positive reference group. Negative means, again, you see movies and you might be inspired by this gangsters, right? Goons and all. So that is, if you wish to become one among that, that is going to be a negative reference group. What do you mean by, there is something called as anticipatory socialization. Okay, you will see here in this, anticipatory socialization means you will try to socialize like them in an anticipation that you will be a part of them, right? So this is what you mean by anticipatory socialization. You will try to imitate the lifestyles of those people like that. Okay, and then if you will not be able to become part of that, then you will be reduced to a marginal man, because anyway you are not part of them, right? And then you will not be accepted by your society, your friends also, because they already you cut off from them. Okay, I forgot to tell that the concept is given by Merton. I'm expecting that all of you know that, so that's why I just ignored that. This is given by Merton, right? You know that. And direct question, this will be a 10 marker. how can you explain fashion in society? How can you explain fashion in society? Like you consider Bollywood stars, right? The film stars as your reference group, and then you try to have a hairstyle, right? And then the dress style, the body, and all these. That is what you mean by. That is how you can actually explain the fashion in society by using reference group. It is anyway negative. Okay, so here functions and dysfunctions of reference group that you just need to explain with positive and negative reference group. So here I have given positive reference group, negative reference group, whatever we have discussed. So positive reference group, it gives motivation, and that are the functions you will be good, and that will give mobility, upward mobility. Negative reference group, that is what you need to write in dysfunction. So when you're writing that, okay, functions and dysfunction, manifest, latent, dysfunction also you need to write. Okay, so dysfunctions, if you see, what is the latent dysfunction? Big problem to society. If somebody is becoming a terrorist or Naxalite and all these things, there's a societal problem. So latent, that is going to be something which is affecting society, right? So that is what you need to write. Details is given. Now next is pattern variable. This is again from Parsons. Okay, so potential question, whatever I have given here, this is a sufficient one. There is nothing more you need to add. Some extra point, 1 or 2 point I have added in the answer, which is given below. That also you can add. The combination, I have missed the combination of pattern variables here that I have added in the answer that you need to add. What do you mean by pattern variables? Guys, pattern variables means dilemma. You know what is social action by Parsons. Parsons have talked about social action. Now, if you see how he improved our Weber, not in definition, obviously there, ideal types, obviously there, but mainly in terms of value orientation and motivational orientation. Parsons talk about value orientation, the role of society. Weber only talk about motivational orientation, your emotions, your meanings and everything, right? Parsons incorporate the dimension which is discussed by Durkheim also, both motivational and value. Okay, but while performing the action, individual face dilemma, whether to choose motivational orientation, your own motivation, or value orientation, right? I've given this example in all the classes, right? When you're going for a UPSC interview, you see a person who met with an accident, whether to help him or go for interview. If it is value-oriented society, ascriptive society, you will have to help him. If it is achievement, that means motivational oriented, then you have to go for interview. But societies like India, which are in transition, you will face dilemma with respect to choice towards motivation or value, right? So that is when you face dilemma. This dilemma again has certain pattern. There are different types of dilemma, patterns of dilemma. That's what pattern variable. What is pattern variable? Dilemmas. The different dilemmas, different possibility of dilemmas. Okay, so these are the different ideal types. This is again ideal types. It has to be seen in terms of continuum. Both are explained in a dichotomous manner. Ascription, achievement, diffuseness, specificity. Again, let me tell you guys, all these can be a separate question. This can be asked as a separate question. Ascription, achievement can be asked as a separate question. Motivational value orientation can be asked as a separate question. Okay, all these individually, particularism, universalism can be asked as a separate question. Collective orientation, self, all these can be asked as a separate question. If it is asked, what you will do? You will have to tell that this is a concept given by Parsons in when he discussed about pattern variables, right? Then tell what is pattern variable, talk about dilemma, then talk about, for example, ascription versus achievement, right? Modern society, which is based on achievement, traditional society, which is based on ascription, ascriptive status. What do you mean by ascriptive status? You are a Brahmin. Just when you are saying that you're a Brahmin, you will be getting respect in society. What kind of society you will get respect when you are just saying that you're a Brahmin? Traditional society, that is ascriptive society. Ascriptive status is more important, right? Ritual hierarchy is more important in those societies. But in modern society, which is achievement oriented, doesn't matter you're a Brahmin or Dalit. You are saying that you're an IAS officer or IPS officer, you get respect. Okay, so that is what you mean by achievement oriented society, which is mostly modern society. So this is These are, you can see the first ascription, diffuseness, affectivity, particularism, collective orientation. All these represent a traditional society, and these side will represent a modern society. And there are no societies which are completely modern. There are no society which is completely traditional. Guys, these words, when I'm saying, listen once again, once we're done with the session, and these words has to be there in your answer. For example, there are no society which is completely achievement oriented. There are no society which is completely ascription based. Even in traditional society also, some kind of achievement is required. Even in modern society also, we follow some kind of, value orientation. 1 minute, guys. Yeah, if it is a completely traditional society, there is no need of any dilemma. There is a role expectation. You will be going for the interview, you see the person who met with an accident, you will help that person. That is the role expected. So these dilemmas are resolved through what? Role expectation, role definition. You guys will be using different terms, role definition, role expectation, from whichever teacher you have learned sociology. So it all depends on, the language that the teacher is using, right? But almost things will be same. So role expectation is the way in which you will be solving the dilemma. But that role is not defined properly in which society. Society is in transition. Like Indian society. Society is in transition, so you'll face dilemma. These are the type of dilemma. Explain that, guys. And then there can be different combinations of these also. Like this is what I've told you. You can expect a specific question, right? So first you need to tell what is pattern variable, how does help in understanding the reality, the dilemma and everything. Okay, then talk about this, give examples also. Specificity versus diffuseness. Can you give me an example? Right, even when you guys are here, right? So you are here for learning sociology. So I can be very specific to learning or teaching sociology. That means it's all about the kind of relationship people have, right? Or it can be diffused. I can talk about GS also, right? Different other subjects. I can talk about polity. If I'm good in economy, I can talk about economy or history, and that will help you, right? So that will be more diffused. What do you think in modern society? What kind of relation will be there? Mostly, it is specific, taking into consideration the needs, right? And diffused in case of traditional society. That's all. Very formal. Like you go to a margin supermarket. What kind of relation that is? You go, you get the things done, right? You buy things. Nobody is asking you why you want this and where are you coming from and all, right? It is very specific. You go to a shop in your local village, if it is in village, then if you are staying in hostel, that shopkeeper will ask you, when did you came? How was your stay in hostel? How's your college and everything, right? That is more diffused. So it is all about the range of demand from relations. So more specific in traditional, modern, diffused. Again, examine how, according to Talcott Parsons, pattern variables led to the understanding of different empirical social systems. Same only. This is just a combination, universalistic achievement, right? Combination, universalistic ascription, particularistic achievement, particularistic ascription. I've given example here, American society, universalistic achievement, universal, achievement oriented, and then others will be like in transition. Second one, Germany, right? So just go through that. This also need to be added in your answer. This I have missed in the notes. So guys, those students who are attending the sociology sessions in your note, this point is missing. Add it from here. Okay, this point is missing, and you have to write the first case, example US, second Germany. That's it. 1 or 2 lines, that's enough. Combinations. What is this? Ideal types. Combinations. Okay. Now, guys, Robert Merton. What are the possible questions from Robert Merton? Let me quickly discuss the possible questions. Firstly, they can ask you the 3 postulates, right? 3 postulates of Merton. That is going to be a 10 marker. Then they can ask you the concepts introduced by Merton, or they can ask you why Merton is called as father of neo-functionalism, or simply they can ask you neo-functionalism, or Merton's contributions to functionalism, or how Merton modified functionalism. So 3 postulates, you know that is going to be very simple, right? These are postulate of functional unity, postulate of functional indispensability, universal functionalism. And new concepts. In fact, that new concepts again will be discussed here. When he discuss about unity, he talk about dysfunction. When he talk about indispensability, he talk about functional alternative, right? And then when he talk about universal functionalism, he talk about non-function and net balance. So these are new concepts. Then latent manifest function. What is manifest latent function? Manifest latent dysfunction, net balance, alternative, middle range theory. You should not go for abstract phenomena like Parsons. You should not go for too much elementary. The problem with abstraction, if you go with, you cannot go for empirical testability or practical applicability. If you go for too elementary, you cannot generalize it. You can't make a theory. Generalization is not possible. So take a middle range phenomena. And then he have given a paradigm. That paradigm also can be a 10 marker. There are 9 steps in the paradigm. What are the 9 steps? Take a middle range item. That means a standardized item. Specify the context of the item. Third is go for a post factum analysis. Then identify manifest function, latent function, manifest dysfunction, latent dysfunction. Give the functional alternative. Then net balance. Different weights can be attached. And the criticisms of all these, functional alternative, what is a criticism? I can say family is taking care of child. There are childcare centers. Similarly, old age centers are there. But the relative importance, the way family take care of child and older, will it be the same in the other alternative? No, that Merton ignored. Second, Merton is talking about while identifying the net balance, he telling take the functions, take the dysfunctions, give certain weights or use different scales for function and dysfunction. It is left to whom? Investigator. So if I want to make one phenomena that I'm studying as functional, I can give more weightage to function. 2 mark for functions, 1 mark for dysfunction. So that is again involving the bias of the investigator. So guys, all these are there. Just go through this. What is net balance? What is manifest latent function? Right? Paradigm, I've given the 9 steps here in detail. You won't forget it. Middle range theory, very important. It is based on limited set of assumptions, examples. Merton theory of anomy. It's a middle range theory. Reference group, middle range theory. Right? Durkheim's theories of suicide, religion, all these are middle range phenomena, middle range theories. Criticisms listed out, just go through that. Merton, we can't say consider him as positivist. See, that discussion, he's to an extent positivist in terms of functional approach and use of methods and talking about objectivity, though he cannot ensure. But we don't want to discuss post-1940s. We don't have that discussion of positivist and non-positivist. Right? That debate is there much before, when there was a debate between formal school and synthetic school. Post-1940s, from Parsons onwards, that is over. There is no question of quantitative, qualitative. We use both as per requirement. Now, 8 steps, I have written together. Actually, 9 steps is there. You can go through that. Okay. So that there is no need to discuss positivist and non-positivist post-1940s. That the postmodern approach is entirely different. From Parsons onwards, it is an integrated approach. You will see positivist in Parsons, right? Motivational value orientation. Durkheim, motivational orientation. That is a non-positivist dimension. So from there onwards, there is no debate of scientific or humanistic or positive or negative or positivist or non-positivist or quantitative, qualitative, inductive, deductive. All those debates have gone. No need to discuss that. Neo-functionalist is mainly because he introduced dysfunction within functionalism. That's why, that's the most important point, right? And then, till then, there is no question of latent function. Now you are identifying the latent function also. And that you will write again as one of the criticism of Merton, because Merton will never say any item altogether dysfunctional. If there is an item, what does a normal functionalist will say? If it is existing, it means it is necessarily fulfilling some vital functions to the society. That's why it is existing. Even when it comes to Merton also, though he talk about dysfunctions and all these things, but if some item is dysfunctional manifest, but there may be some hidden function for Merton. So altogether, there is nothing which is dysfunctional for Merton also. In fact, that will not be there, right? Anyway, if something is existing, it have to have some function. Durkheim's theories are middle range. Religion is a middle range phenomena. Suicide is a middle range phenomena because these are not abstract, right? One of the good example, this example, if possible, if you have time, you can write this Hopi ceremonials, right? They are doing this for what? Rainfall. But they are expecting, their hope is that because of this rainfall, there is a rainfall. But is that the case? No. Right? So they are believing what is the intended function? They will get rainfall. What is the unintended function? It ensures solidarity and integration because they are together and they are doing all those things, right? So see here, the ceremonials do not produce rainfall, but they enable the scattered members of the group to assemble together and engage in a common activity. That reinforces the group identity. This is one example which you can write if you get this question. That's why I've just highlighted. Criticisms are there. Okay, now, guys, this one, theory of anomy. What is anomy? You know, in case of Durkheim, it is normlessness, temporary situation, but Merton consider it as a problem with the structure of society. If there is a discrepancy between means and the ends, end is the goal that you need to achieve, means are the ways in which you can achieve the goal. So if there is a discrepancy, means it is not only you're not following the correct means, you may not achieve the goal by following the mean is also considered as a discrepancy. I'll show you here. You know that anyway. See here, innovator, you achieve the goal, but not correct means. That is means and there is a discrepancy. Ritualist, you followed the means correctly, you are not able to achieve the goal. That is also discrepancy. There is a because you need to achieve both. Both should be plus. That's when no anomy. There is no discrepancy. That is conformist. So conformist is not anomy situation. Everything else is anomy situation. Innovator, you can talk about scientist, functional. You can talk about robbery, robbers, dysfunctional, both. Ritualist, bureaucrat who's coming to office and in time but not able to fulfill the goal. Okay, and then teacher, like if suppose I'm teaching you, I keep on talking to you without understanding whether you are able to follow me or not. But because in this session, I'm not even looking into that because I am taking an assumption that you have completed this and then you are sitting for this discussion. So I am not even bothered in this session to teach you a concept, right? So that's why I also go like a ritualist here. I just keep on talking about this with an assumption that you know that. Retreatist, both negative, no goals, no ends, like no means followed, drug addicts, saints, and all those. Rebellion, reject the goals and means, create new. There can be positive and negative. Social reformers, they reject the existing goals and everything, right? So that is positive, function. Terrorist, Naxalites, negative, dysfunction. I've told you how can you use this in your ethics paper also, the same table. Same, right? Same question. You need to reproduce the same thing only. It's a middle range theory. So they're asking evaluate Robert Merton's middle range theory of deviance. So they have mentioned this middle range theory of deviance. So even before you introduce deviance, you just tell what is middle range theory, why he's talking about middle range theory, because middle range theory is something which can be empirically tested. It is not abstract. It will give a generalization which can be tested. He also says that number of middle range theories you combine, you can make a grand theory as well. And the advantage is that grand theory can also be tested, not like Parsons. Parsons, illegitimate teleology, illegitimate tautology, the circular arguments, which is, keep on repeating. You can never end his argument, right? Society, adaptation needs are met by an economic system, which in turn have economic system, which in turn further have adaptation. Further have adaptation. Like that it will go. That's a problem. Direct theory, right? You can just write it. There is nothing difficult in this. More detailed discussion is given in this. Go through the criticisms. Guys, teleology means explaining cause and function as the same, right? So that is the situation. That's the main problem with the functional approach. That's what you call as teleology. And Durkheim separated cause and function. You can see in all his approach, causal functional approach. He discussed cause separately. If you see division of labor, cause is struggle for existence in the present occupation. Function is integration, right? Cause and function are different, but that's not the case with all other functionalists. So that's what teleology. If you're saying economic explanation, if you see, what is a function of division of labor productivity? If you ask why it is came into existence, then also they will say that to ensure productivity, we went for division of labor. That means cause and function is same, but that's not the case, right? It is not necessarily the case. If you say that, that is what teleology. Durkheim tried maximum to ignore it. That is a problem with functional approach. Mead, go through this, guys. Just one question: symbolic interactionism. Talk. See the what is discussed here. What do you mean by gesture? What do you mean by significant gesture? What do you mean by the verbal gestures, right? And all these things. Consciousness. I, me. I am talking to you. When I am talking to you, inside of me, there is a me who's evaluating whatever I'm telling is correct or not, right? This is same, right? Theory of religion as a factor of social change, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. Guys, again, let me connect some of the thinkers with the last chapter of social change. You will be studying this Andre Gunder Frank, Immanuel Wallerstein, and there are some other theories of social change, cyclical theories, and different other theories are there. But mainly we need what? Marx theory of social change, right? Marx theory of social change, you will be talking about mode of production, the same only. And then 3 stages of development at the different ages that you just need to read that. Even you can link it to with your baby also. That's how a child is developed. Even we all develop like that. There is a play stage, there is a game stage. At one stage, we just observe things and then we will develop. That is what actually explained over there. Very simple only. Okay, so mode of production is the theory of social change for Marx, historical materialism. Durkheim, mechanical solidarity to organic solidarity. Both have used a evolutionary perspective. That is the theory of social change. This is what you can write as Weber. Parsons, moving equilibrium and cybernetic hierarchy of control. When there is a, there is a information flow, there is a, energy flow, right? That is what cybernetic hierarchy of control. If there is a break in the flow, what will happen? The equilibrium will break. When the equilibrium break, the specific mechanisms will function, bring back new equilibrium. That's when social change. That is coming. Parsons is coming. Okay, suicide, very important theory, guys. Very important. Why it is important is a classical exhibition of use of statistical techniques, quantitative methods in sociology. His concern for scientific discipline and everything. But that itself is a criticism. The data he collected is not necessarily authentic, right? Most of the cases of suicide might not have reported. Some of the cases of suicides which are reported might be something else as well. So the data itself is not clear. Definition is very important. He's talking about any case of death caused directly or indirectly. It could be direct, it could be indirect, positive or negative action. Positive action means you're doing an action, either hanging or consuming poison or anything. Negative action means abstaining from action. You're not doing an action. If you have the knowledge that you will die, then it is considered a suicide. Okay. Directly means you have an intention. Indirectly means you don't have intention to die. When you go for rash driving, you don't have intention to die, but you are taking an action, right? Rash driving, you are taking an action. That's why it is positive. Why it is indirect? Because you don't have intention to die. You're just doing it out of fun. So it is indirect, but positive action. Why it is considered a suicide? Because you know that it will produce a result. If you drive fast, you know you will most probably this will happen, right? That's why it also considered as suicide. Causes of suicide, he identified 4 reasons, right? Over integration, mainly 2 suicidogenic forces: integration and regulation. Within that, over integration, that is what altruistic suicide; low integration, egoistic suicide; over regulation, fatalistic suicide; low regulation, anomy suicide. Give examples. I have given examples here. Okay, and then talk about social currents. And then Ritzer identified how Durkheim explained why suicide rates are different in different countries or different collectivities or in different society. Why? Because different collectivities or societies have different social variables, have different social currents. That's why different suicide rate. Again, over a period of time, what will happen within the same collectivity? The social variables will change, like 1950s and now. India, social variables have changed, social current will change, suicide rate will change. But if you see this year, next year, it is consistent. These are different. Suicide as a social fact. So first you need to briefly explain what you mean by social fact, and then explain suicide, how he considered it as social fact, how he considers suicide as a thing, right? He explained all those things need to be there in your answer, but this one is a 10 marker, but even then you have to incorporate that. He considered it as a social fact, he considered it as a thing, and then he studied it by using quantitative data, using statistical techniques to ensure objectivity. So I don't think that you will face any problem in explaining this, guys. Towards the end, 1 or 2 criticism is also required. Here he have given this one, right? There's a multivariable analysis. So together he is considering Protestant religion and developed. There you have more suicide rates than Catholic religion and less developed. So you have to take into consideration both. If you consider independently developed and less developed, it may be different. But this, if you consider this religion and this country, this religion and this country, both variables have a role to play. That is what you want to tell them. Independently, not given, right? This is together. Both need to be considered together. Okay, so when we discuss about Max Weber, firstly, social action. See the definition, scope of sociology he defined to study social action. How you study social action? Study social action and meanings attached by the actor to the action. How can you understand the cause and effect of any action? You have to understand the meanings attached by the actor to the action. So Weber want to establish cause and effect objectively, and for that he proposed the methods: ideal type, Westerham, causal pluralism. He wanted a trained investigator for doing all these things, so that shows his concern for objectivity. Though the subject matter have changed, but how you're going to study the subject matter objectively. Okay, so those are what you need to write in introduction. Then define what is social action. Any act is social by virtue of the meaning attached by the actor to it, and then orientation. Explain that 2 conditions, and then talk about ideal types: traditional action, affective action, word rational action, Zweck rational action. And since he believe in causal pluralism, multiple causes may be possible for an action. So actual action may be any of these 4 or the combination. That's what you need to do. So if the question is about scope of sociology for Weber or separately social action, you need to write the same. Okay, even if they're asking you Weber's methodology, you need to talk about these things that we have mentioned. Westerham, go through that. It can be a short note. I've given that below. Read that. Westerham It could be done at two levels, direct observational, right? And then explanatory understanding. Direct observational involves too much of bias. Even explanatory also, it involves too much of bias. But again, guys, explanatory, I have given some steps. I've added everything, but those two are the key points which you should not miss. Otherwise, first hand means comprehending, nothing else. These are the steps you need to follow. These are the 4 different types of action. First hand, direct observational, explanatory, evolutionary universals is something is related to Parsons. You will be studying this in the chapter 10. Actually, this is talking about social change. He is discussing 3 types of society, like the way Durkheim discussed mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. Parsons also talking about 3 types, like what Marx did. He is talking about 3 society, that is a primitive society, right? And then intermediate society, and then there is a more advanced modern society, right? For that, he has given some conditions. There has to be industrial revolution, there is democratic revolution, and then educational revolution and all these things. What are the characteristics? There will be a universalistic laws, right? The evolution of modern institutions of money, banking, and all this. Just go through that. Rational bureaucracy, democracy. All these are, you will see in the modern society. Okay. So these are intermediate society. Social change, according to Weber, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism is what you can write. That theory is what you can write. Guys, message, I am not able to go through all the messages because we are in the page number 83. We have 141 page and one more set is there that I have to do tomorrow. So that's why I'm going a bit faster. Okay, historical materialism. This theory, if it is asked, you have to tell why it is historical, because Marx traced the theory from the history of society, right? Why it is historical, you have understood. Why it is materialistic? Because he has given materialistic explanation by considering economic infrastructure as superior. Talk also about dialectical materialism. What do you mean by dialectics, right? Concept of Hegel, dialectical idealism, how he modified to dialectical materialism. I've given a separate answer with 3 steps for dialectical materialism in a next PDF. So talk about dialectical materialism first. If this question is asked, then tell why it is historical, why it is materialistic. And then there are 2 parts in this theory. First, talk about his idea about society, then talk about the evolutionary model. Idea about society, you talk about FOP, ROP, economic infrastructure, superstructure, the diagram, systemic view, and everything. That has to be there. But again, guys, this is, if it is about 20 marker, you need to write all these. If it is 10 marker also, you need to write all these, but you know what to do, right? It has to be very skewed, that way you need to write. But everything has to be there. You have no scope of, maybe you don't want to explain what is ancient, what is feudal, what is capitalism, and all these things. You don't want explanation. At least just mention there's a next stage, 2 classes. That is how you can reduce it. But everything need to be there. This structure, this has to be there in your answer if the question is about historical materialism. Okay, I've seen 10 marker also this question is asked. That's why I have told that. Mode of production, if they're asking, even you can just write the second part. That's a different modes of production. Mode of production means society. Marx used mode of production, social formation, all these to explain society. So if it is mode of production, still you need to mention this. That is how the change is happening, right? 3 or 4 lines you need to mention that, then different modes of production you explain. When you explain all those things that we have discussed in class, like when the mature condition exists, the slaves revolt, mature condition exists, serf revolt, mature condition exists, workers revolt. What will happen? First stage, false consciousness, then false consciousness, then true consciousness, and all these things has to be very, very clear. Not going through this. Criticism. If it is critical analysis, what you will do, guys? Simple, Marx, right? So you can use Durkheim, macro. If it is, you can use Weber, right? Micro. right? Then concept of social communism, utopian concept. Dahrendorf, decomposition of capital. For sure, you need to use that. Okay. So then continuous modification happened in capitalism. Economic reductionist, giving importance to economic infrastructure. Economic determinist, or whatever language you have studied, you use that. That's not going to be specific to this. Mention Asiatic mode of production. So the question is whether this theory is universally applicable or not. Okay. Try the statements which I have given here. If possible, try to incorporate based on the demand of the question. I hope you will be able to critically analyze, right? So first you talk about the theory, then go for criticism, divide into general and specific. Towards the end, write one positive note, one contribution. Like till the time poverty and exploitation is there, Marx and Marxian theories or the Marxian concerns or the emancipatory concerns raised by Marx is still relevant. Simple, that's enough. And the policy makers and the theorists or the planners cannot ignore the concerns raised by Marx. Simple. Just one line of, this relevance is enough. Pattern variables we have already discussed. Historical materialism the same. Latent manifest function I have discussed already. Guys, but when you're writing this, latent manifest function is what they have asked. Also talk about latent manifest dysfunction. Give example also, like Hopi ceremonials, which I've told you. Take like bureaucracy. Talk about the function, latent function, manifest function, latent dysfunction, manifest dysfunction. Okay, I've told you why a bureaucrat is anomy. It is a dysfunction, right? It is a hidden dysfunction for society. The goal is not getting done. Now use the technical word also. It is not given here, but it is given in the actual PDF. Latent manifest, objective manifestation, and subjective predisposition. Those words you need to use. Legal rational authority we discussed yesterday. Authority. Okay, guys, this is enough for today. If you have any doubt, we can discuss now. I'll complete it tomorrow. Any doubts? Now you can.
So, can you please explain something about organic act of meat?
Organic act of need. For that, I need to completely explain need. We'll do that some other day. Why don't you watch the class video?
Yes, sir. I had watched, but that was the only part I could not get.
Then we will do it in the action session.
Okay, sir.
Anybody else?
Hello.
Sir.
Sir, regarding the Marx theory of alienation, when we compare it to the relevant to the present society. Okay, so can you give an example of in a corporate world how it works with the employee relationship and these kind of stuff? And I'm asking you, sir.
No, actually, see, you can write that in a positive way as well as negative way, Punit. It's all the way we perceive, right? We can say that in the modern society, when there is a lot of opportunity in the IT world, it is giving ample opportunity to creativity. So there is no alienation. Or you can say that you are working in a corporate and your decisions and everything, your actions, everything that you do is already pre-programmed and designed, and you are only working for what the seniors are telling you. In that way, your creativity is hindered. So, but which one is more suitable in modern society is something which you need to decide, right? In modern society, I think the chances of mobility is more. You are more, cared by the seniors, and if you have good innovative suggestions and if you can enhance your creativity, even everybody will accept it. So the possibility of mobility and possibility of creativity, creative expression is actually more in the modern system. However, you can also say the other side. It all depends on your senior and the system in which you are working and everything. But both you can write.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yes, yes. Tell me.
any theory of contemporary time, like whatever theory, we can use like not the technical words, but like answer like GS question. GS, that's not, but like views and all. Can we type that stuff on this type of question?
I didn't understood what you're saying. It was not clear.
Sir, which topic you will take in 7:30 session?
7:30 will start family.
Hello,
Yes, yes, yes.
sir. What is the relevance of organic solidarity in the present society?
Urban solidarity. You're talking about organic solidarity in the present society.
Yeah.
See, solidarity, without that, you cannot survive. We are, Durkheim said so, right? Without we seek in others what we lack in ourselves. We don't have everything, so how you get things for your survival? From the market, from outside
I
world,
want
so
some
some connection, right?
answer structure.
Oh, answer structure you're talking about. Then you explain what is this theory of division of this mechanical solidarity, and then talk about organic solidarity. In the organic solidarity, it all depends on interconnections, and then the people are interconnected just like organs in the body. Explain that. There is nothing difficult in that, right? People need to depend on others. We seek in others what we lack in ourselves. So the society is designed in such a way that we all are connected. If we need to survive, we are supposed to be connected. Like you are here for what? Sociology. If you know sociology, you're not here. Right? So we all are connected and we made a collectivity here. That's how every system works. You can use GS examples, right? General examples in any of the theories, whatever current issues you see that you can apply if it is suitable in that particular theory. It's all about how much you understood the theory and how you're going to innovate it and how you're going to apply it on that particular theory. You see a good example, if it suits that, then take it. Even if you want to criticize Marx's theory of alienation, simply just before what we discussed, in the modern society, worker is given much more freedom. If you can say that, yes, that is what correct. If you're saying that in the modern society, worker is not given any freedom, that is also correct. See, the study that you have conducted, you might have seen that the worker is given more freedom. The study that you have conducted, if you have seen that worker is not having any freedom, then that is your conclusion, right? That is the advantage of
So,
social.
in GS answers, it is suggested that you should give a positive conclusion or something. Is it necessary to do that in
It is
sociology?
always better in. It is always better. You don't want to criticize any of the thinkers because when you're studying, ultimately, in that way, functionalist approach is better. If they are there, they have contributed to sociology, right? That is why we are studying. So why we need to say that they are not relevant, their concepts are not relevant? One way or the other, there is a relevance. That's why you're studying them. Simple.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, in question like critically analyze the contemporary relevance of the Durkheim's theory of religion, how can we approach this kind of question?
You don't know. See, you understood the theory and you understood the function, right? The function, that is the relevance. Like integration, right? We want to see the society, we want to see the people, we want to show off. That's why we are going to church and masjid with our BMW car and all these good dress and ornaments and everything. It is not to see the God or it is not to worship. It is for the society. It is showing the, power, money, prestige, celebrate, right? But it is ensuring the togetherness.
Do you have any plans to take classes post prelim?
Which one?
Am I audible? Am I clearly
Yes,
audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
So do you have any plans to take classes post preliminary examination?
Prelims classes there right now busy, so there is no sessions now.
I mean, I'm talking about optional sociology.
Which preliminary?
UPSC says it's preliminary.
No, you just messaged me. I didn't understand. You just messaged me later. So Archana, what I'm saying is, in the modern society, religion integrate people in terms of similarity. Okay. At the same time, you can also use Marx. You can even use Merton, saying that, okay, in traditional society or before, it might have integrated, but in modern society, when secularism is more important, people are not into religion much, right? People are not connected in terms of religion. People are connected in terms of many other reasons. Secondly, multiplicity of religion is actually creating different other problems. Okay, so whether it is relevant, if you ask, it may be relevant on one side. At the same time, it may not be relevant on the other side. There are more sect and cults, means religious groups are coming out. In that way, that is also not necessarily functional, because different groups are there and individual is confused to be part of which group. So if only one religion is there, then it is good. People will be together. So the relevance, again, it is up to you what you are writing. You understood the theory of Durkheim. You understood what he want to say. It integrate people in terms of similarity. On the other hand, division of labor, it integrate people in terms of differences. So here similarity is integrating people. Now, if you find differences, that will lead to opposite effect. So if you can conclude, or if you can bring that dimension, you don't want to tell that, you can use Merton, you can use Marxian approach. So when you are critically analyzed or when you're writing the relevance, in fact, all these are almost going to be the same. You need to bring in all these points in your answer. So I hope that is answered. It all, again, the way unintended consequences means unintended. Consequences means what? Outcome. Outcome can be function or dysfunction. Okay. Unintended consequence means latent or, manifest or function or dysfunction. Unintended consequences means outcome. Unintended outcome. Outcome can be function as well as dysfunction. Unintended means latent. So here, unintended consequences means latent function or dysfunction, and latent function is a part of it. Unintended consequences will cover both. That's why that question was asked. It was a trap, right? You're talking about the mains question, right? They have asked about unintended consequences and latent function. In fact, latent function is part of... If you draw the big Venn diagram, unintended consequence will be that. Within that, unintended function, unintended dysfunction. That means latent function, latent dysfunction. So what is latent function? It is part of unintended consequences. Okay? Yeah, tell me, Archana, you were saying something. Okay.
So discuss a little bit of Merton functional postulates.
Postulates, I answer, it is going to be a lot of time consuming. He's talking, see, first one is talking about unity. So what he says is, every constituents in the system is ensuring its unity. That's the functionalist approach, but that's not necessarily correct. There can be a disintegrating influence. So identify the dysfunction. That's the first postulate. Second postulate is indispensability. That means functionalists like Marinovsky, Durkheim, they are of the opinion that something is existing, it is indispensable. Family is indispensable, inevitable. You cannot replace it. Religion is indispensable. But that's not the case for Merton. He says, these are providing functions, no doubt, but there can be alternative which provide the same. That's the second postulate. Third one is what we have discussed about non-function and net balance. There may be some non-function as well. Positive function or negative function, or can be non-function. I always give example of the class, right? When I say disintegrating influence, means some of the students who create problems in the class. Disintegrating influence. Non-function means, or positive function means students who are contributing positively. Non-function means the students who just sit silent, listen to everything, not positive, not negative, just silent. Like that, you can understand. These are the 3 postulates. In 3 postulates, he discussed about dysfunction, non-function, net balance, alternative. But when you write the postulate, write 1 paragraph of what is functionalism so far. Talk about Comte, talk about decriminalization of suicide. See, that it is a mental situation that has nothing to do with Durkheim's concept. There's a psychological dimension. I think that is what is discussed in that, right? Mental health related case. So when you are saying that it is mental health, then we have nothing to discuss from Durkheim's perspective is completely social. This may be an impulse. Otherwise, all the mentally retarded person would have committed suicide.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Siva here. Able to hear me?
Yes, Shiva.
Yes, sir. So regarding contemporary relevance of religion, right, for Durkheim. So I just get some clarification from you. So that's why. For that, can we add, for example, we have a sacred and profane things, right? So still we have now nation concept or constitution. So all those things we can consider it as sacred, right? So still it is relevant with respect to contemporary time. So
nation concept.
Yeah, I mean the Indian nation. Yeah, Indian nation it's a sacred thing. Our constitution itself is a sacred thing. So still it is relevant with respect to contemporary times. So in this way we can we write it? I'm just asking.
No. This
so those things we can consider
as
a
not sacred according to Durkheim. Nation is considered sacred that we consider.
No. I'm saying for contemporary relevance.
If you want to, it's all about, individual, how you're going to interpret and how you're going to convince the examiner. I've seen some students also writing. I think there is a material which is talking about this. That is why I've also seen this answer which has been written by 2-3 students as well. Nation is worshipped.
Yeah.
Right? We worship our country and then we worship the constitution.
Yeah.
We keep Indira Gandhi also in our home. Okay, it is all the way you see whether to be decriminalized or not. I can't tell that. See, why you need to criminalize suicide then? No need to.